People who just come for a job only take a salary. People who come with this mindset that, I can solve problems will eventually become partners with business. And every business owner, including you, will be both, right? We look out for those kind of people who are agile, who are ready, who want to do stuff and say, okay, fine, maybe 2 years later, this guy actually can be sitting on the CEO seat. Because if we look at those qualities, because those qualities make your business shine.
On that same note, I have a very similar objective question. Do you think companies need good, knowledgeable guys, geniuses, or they need good leads?
I would like a genius leader.
Your journey also, when you started taking license, how was it? Did you find some issues? Because there'll be a lot of chefs, a lot of people who wanted to come to you. Do you think which things which you can share which can help?
Really made me do everything right from my office. I did not have to do anything. I have to come 5 times here, sign these papers, and do that, and do this, do that. You guys just made it so easy.
Everyone, and welcome to this very special podcast where I have a celebrity chef all the way from India. He has been known around the globe for his culinary arts. He's been there from the most renowned celebrity chef on the Master Chef. He's founder and entrepreneur of many renowned restaurants around the globe. He's none other than Mr. Ajay Chopra. So guys, everyone, fasten your seatbelt and loosen your belly belt because I have someone who creates waves in your stomachs. So Mr. Ajay, welcome to the podcast. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much, Evan. That was such a beautiful introduction.
So, sir, we'll start first of all with your personal story. How did you start it as a chef? What inspired you to become a chef, and how did you choose this profession?
Well, I think, Hemant, we know that today the profession of a chef is very glorified. But when I started almost 26 years back, in India we were called the Bawarchis. The West understood the meaning of chefs, and they had started to glorify chefs. But I think it was the onset of MasterChef in India which really made this platform much bigger. But when talk about my start, I started, at a very young age, at 9 or 10 years, I started to just leave my mom in the kitchen. Just loved the fact that food brings happiness to people. And, I wanted to try my hands with some things. So that's how I started, but never realized that this would become a career. I think moving forward, when I was in my class 12, I was looking for what career to choose. Parents wanted me to become a doctor or an engineer, so I was studying for that. But actually, my heart was, in something else. I did not know what was it. So I was thinking maybe I can become an architect. And then I suddenly see this program where they're talking about hospitality and what all hospitality can teach you. So that day I said, this is something interesting. Let me go behind it and found more about it and entered hotel management. As I entered hotel management, I think the first 3 months or 4 months, I was very sure that I only want to become a chef. So from there it started.
Okay. As you mentioned about the master chef, that it was really an onset for you and glorification in terms of chef. What I felt like with this, that master chef is not only about creating chefs, maybe it is creating entrepreneurs as well.
Absolutely.
So if you can shed some light exactly how the journey from a chef, then you, as you said, you were employed, then you became an entrepreneur. How did that start?
So, interesting stories in my life. The first story is that when I just started my career, I was a prep cook in TBI Fridays. Lowest position, very low salary. You'll be surprised when I started with 2,340 rupees. That was 1998. But one night I was actually on the pasta section and it was very busy. So I must have made some 300 odd pastas that day. I came back home, I was very tired. I asked my brother to press my back. And he asked me, why are you so tired? What did you do? अलग हिंदी में बोलते हैं पत्थर तोड़ के आए तो ऐसे नहीं he was very busy I was the pasta section. How many pastas did you make? I said 300.
300.
Yeah, and he said, how much do you sell one pasta for? I said about 300. Oh, so you earn 90,000 rupees for someone else. And that day it suddenly did something to me, but I could not do anything with that thought because I had no money. I come from a very normal family. My father is not a businessman. He was himself working very hard to fend for us. So I kept that thought, and that thought somewhere subsided. 20 years later, when we talk about chefs and entrepreneurs. So no chef can not talk about this man who actually started for chefs to become entrepreneurs, and that's Chef Ajay Chopra. So I was standing at the Western lobby, and a Mercedes Benz comes in, and the interesting part was there was chef code hanging on the back seat. Okay. And I asked this question to myself: how many Mercedes Benz in India will have chef code hanging at the back? And the answer was one, because it was him. So I met him and I said, Chef, how do I become you? And he said, very straightforward. And I said, yes, if I have to become you, then I have to be straightforward. And I think that's where he started to open my eyes that, a chef has a skill, but a chef also has the sixth sense, the understanding of a business. Because we look at food from all our five senses, not everybody looks at life with all your five senses. And when you look at any business with all five senses, then you are going to make an impact. The other thing he told me was that about brand value and how we can take this forward. So we had just kind of finished shooting MasterChef, so it kind of all met in line. But again, it took me even from that point in 3.5 years to actually step out, because when you're working in a job, it's always, you're getting a fat salary, you're very happy. Every first, you have the salary ringing in your bank, so there's nothing to think about. You come, you perform, and that's it. But entrepreneurship is like you're jumping to mountains. So when I actually resigned and I said, okay, I'm going to take this step, a lot of my friends said, boss, why are you stepping down? So I'm not stepping down. I am probably at the top of a cliff. I'm going to make a jump to the other top of the cliff. There are 100% chances of me going down. But hey, there are 100% chances of me going from this cliff to that cliff right on top. So unless I take that risk, it cannot happen. One of my friends, Nishant Agarwal, he said, Chef, as you're taking this very bold step, there'll be a lot of dark tunnels. Don't give up. I have faith in you, that you will do well. And sometimes you get that encouragement from friends and family and everyone. And it was majority that God had spoken over my life that, now I'm ready to take that step. So I think as we enter into that, exactly.
So, sir, the most important question for all the people, not just the chefs who are into salaried jobs, the shift to becoming an entrepreneur. What are those pain points, first of all, which made you shift? And when you're in salaried, you have people around you who are doing their jobs, for an example, and if you're a chef. For other jobs, you have people to do that. You just focus being a chef. But when you're an entrepreneur, you are on your own for everything.
Sure.
So if you can shed some light on that.
Sure. I think very interesting question, Hemant, because a lot of people say that I also want to become an entrepreneur, but they don't look at the risks. They don't look at the challenges that will come along with that. So one very important point is that one has to be very strong here, and mentally prepared. And I think I was, grateful to the kind of graft that I had. I worked in hotels, but I also worked in London for 3 years in a restaurant. And hotels, like you rightly said, everything is a question, right? You're doing what you're supposed to do. But in a restaurant, purchase manager, you are the engineer, you are everything, right? So as a chef, you are looking after everything because there's nobody else. And those 3 years actually helped me to kind of groom my mind to say that, okay, I can do it. When I stepped out, life was not rosy. You're not walking into 10,000 square feet beautiful steel kitchens, which are built, in Indian rupees of 4.5, 5 crores. You're actually walking into 500 square feet kitchens, which are probably built at 30 lakhs. And you're still supposed to come out with a great menu. So,
and you have to do more work than you were doing before.
Absolutely.
You have to take care of more things that you were taking.
Absolutely. Because as an entrepreneur, firstly, I have to, defend myself. And then I have to defend those 2 or 3 people that I've hired because I don't have the capacity to hire 10, 20, 50. So I think every team expands slowly. So when we started, we were a team of 1 and me, which is, me, my wife, and another one. And then we had another one. And now we have a team of only 5 people, but we are doing restaurants across the globe. The whole idea is that all 5 of us are agile in our heads. And we have told ourselves that there is no boundary, there's no limit. We will do, we'll go, we'll do this. Because every day you come to one office and you do your day's task. But we have told ourselves that we are going to an office. It could be Dubai, it could be Mumbai, it could be Rajkot, it could be Raipur. We're just taking that much time to travel. That's all we're saying. So
I'll refine my question more to get better answers for the audience as well. That when, as I said, when you're a chef, you're focusing on one thing. Becoming an entrepreneur, do you think your chef knowledge helped you, or it was overall entrepreneurship knowledge which you required to build a team, to think about business terms rather than just the food terms, or rather than giving a product which people like it? How was that shift?
okay, so I think this question has got two folds. One is that there could be people who have the gained knowledge, so probably they've done an MBA or they've done some understanding. So I wasn't fortunate enough to do that. So as a chef, I have learned my skill as well as the business acumen on the go. So whilst I was a chef in a hotel, again, that whole not limiting myself fundamental always worked with me. So whilst I was cooking, I was also wanting to learn the PNL.
Oh,
Whilst I was cooking, I was also wanting to learn why this yellow color is on the wall. Why not red? Why not blue? Why not orange? And everything is there's a reason, there's a science behind it. So I started to gather that science. I did not know what to do with that science, but when I stepped out, all these things started to help me. But I think the most important thing that comes out is that when you're thinking as an entrepreneur, if you have limitations and boundaries, then those limitations and boundaries will limit you. And that's how much you will be able to. But you have to break those boundaries because you can do it. So as a chef, I have gone to TED Talks and spoken to, MBA graduates where I once dreamt that, okay, one day I'll also be an MBA from, an IIM. But I'm standing and talking to them. So what is this? What is this happening? So actually experience that I gained valued more over studies that I had. So everything that I learned was on the platform, on the go, on the job, and I was able to use those learnings as an entrepreneur and putting them together. It almost went like a jigsaw puzzle, which kind of fitted in together.
I think I have answered to the question in the nuts of it, the crux of it, what happened to me as well when I was shifting. I really feel like that people who are coming to the jobs just to do that particular task are not the right fit for the entrepreneurship. People who come to the job to solve every single problem in that company, identify if it is, I am a chef, I am doing my job, no. I am checking what is happening in the cash counter. I am checking what is happening as a brand, why the footfall is less. So I am using all my sixth sense, as you mentioned before. Then you are a right fit for the entrepreneurship.
Absolutely. I think that is like the nail in the coffin because people who just come for a job only take a salary. People who come with this mindset that I can solve problems will eventually become partners to the business. And every business owner, including you and me both, right, will look out for those kind of people who are agile, who are ready, who want to do stuff and say, okay, fine, maybe 2 years later, this guy actually can be sitting on the CEO seat. So we look at those qualities because those qualities make your business shine.
On that same note, I have a very single objective question. Do you think companies need good, knowledgeable guys, geniuses, or they need good leaders?
Very, very interesting question, even because I think it's a combination of both. I would like a genius leader in my gang, but the fact is that we work with human beings, and not all human beings come up with greatest of the ideas. So I don't look for qualities which have got great education backgrounds or great achievements. What I look for is the guy ready to do everything?
Sincerity.
I have actually funneled it down to 3 words. Because these 3 words actually make a lot of sense in my industry. So it's called ASK, ASK.
Okay.
So the first thing is attitude.
Okay.
And for me, everybody says, oh, this guy's got great attitude. What does that mean? So after a long, understanding of what is good attitude, what are people good attitude, one thing stands out is that people with good attitude are always ready. You call them at 5 a.m., I'll be there. You call them at 12 in the night, I'll be there. So always ready people means that you're happy to work, right? So always ready is the great attitude that I look for. The second is skill, because we are in the business of skill, food, understanding of food and beverage. So you have to have that skill. And if you have had great attitude, you will also be making sure that you're working hard to gain your skill. So somebody who's got great skill and great attitude is that automatically in. But the third thing, actually, the K, which is knowledge, I actually inspire people to continue to do that because that's a lifelong process. I always say, as chefs, what is the difference between the guy, who's making kadak chai on the road versus you? What is the difference? You can't make good kadak chai like it. And a lot of people actually ask me, it's just jokey question, a jokey thing. A lot of people say five-star hotels don't make good chai, good kadak chai, good. So I tell them that, those people who are standing there making that chai, they've not come to make chai. They've come to make a career. That guy, now there on the street, that guy only makes chai. That's his single focus. So people have to understand that unless they gain knowledge, they're going to stay where they are. So if you have to grow, you will only grow with knowledge and your skill. And that will be only amounted if you have that attitude of being always ready. So this is what I feel that ASK helps me to identify people amongst the crowd that this guy is actually standing out. Whether he's 25, I'll hire him. Because when he's 28, he'll be of good use.
That's what I mentioned about the leaders, that when we hire visionaries. We think that tomorrow he'll be an asset, not today. That is what is the key for all the founders in Focus. So that was really helpful for all of us, and it is something connecting both of us. Now, I would rather move to the second part of the story, which is from chef to business. What exactly is the nitty-gritties of the business? And this is some pain point in my heart with all the clients which we work with, because we are business setup. We make a lot of restaurants, we help a lot of clients to build restaurants, but we as consultants, we help them to build and get the licenses. But running the business is on them. But what we have seen that businesses of restaurants closes very fast. We are not able to get what is the sense for that. If you can really tell exactly why, how a restaurant should be managed, what should be the starting point, what should be the ending point, and what is your ultimate goal? Because a lot of people enter into restaurants considering it as a hobby. Some consider as an investment. I would say both of them fail. What are the reasons? Andre.
Okay, great. I think, Hemant, this is a very, very important question in today's time and age, because restaurants are something that people are using not just once in a month or twice in a month, but they're probably going every day. People are eating out every day. The percentage of eating out across the world is increasing. So in that space, if you have to understand this business, then you actually have to, really sit down and think that everything is a method. So it is not that you can just get a good chef with good food and have a restaurant. That good chef, if doesn't have the understanding of his own menu and his business, will fail you. The other thing is that you will be as an entrepreneur and owner, will be depending only on the chef, right? So which means that tomorrow the chef runs away, your business there. So if you understand the whole box, okay, there are multiple sections to the box. I'll start from the top, and then we'll go level by level.
So before you get into it, I would suggest that if you can tell that exactly you are also working in this domain and you are itself a consultant to the major brands of that and which brands you're working with, so it puts more credibility how exactly of the process.
Sure. So I have spent about 20 years in hotels, but hotels have restaurants and restaurants have kitchens and kitchens have chefs. So, it's the whole funnel coming down. So I'm not going to say that I was the executive chef at this particular hotel. I actually have started from right under. So I know the journey that goes from top to bottom. And when I came out, I have consulted hotels like the Westin in Calcutta, but we've also done about 47 brands across the world, right from a restaurant in Minnesota to a restaurant in Oman to now 5 restaurants in Dubai. And we have about 38 odd restaurants already done and in working in India. Now, the reason is that, when you're opening a restaurant, it's like, when you buy a house and then you make it a home, there's a difference.
Yeah.
Right? Which means that you actually start doing things to it. So what do you do? What are the steps that one takes when you thinking about a restaurant. So firstly, when the restaurant is not built, let's understand the business of it. The business is that the EBITDA of any restaurant is not going to go above 20-21% at any cost. If you're thinking it's going to give you a 50% return on investment, no, it won't. I'm telling you right there, no, it won't.
No, this is a big, major misconception for everyone who is quitting job or entering into business that he'll be millionaire next day. You're talking about industry specific restaurant, 20% order return. I would speak about any industry, being an investment banker, being business sector. I understand every industry has a saturation level plus a fixed return, and which is nearby to that. Maybe in first few years you can get good return, but eventually it will land up to this much of the
Yeah, correct. So here are two sets of people, who work very smart. So there is people who work on ROI, and there are people who work on ROE. ROE is return on equity.
I thought return on equity.
No, it's on return on ego because restaurants, it's very important, hey, I own this restaurant at the Shangri-La.
Okay.
That very statement proves that, I have an interest in Dubai. It's like that. So it's return on ego. If you've invested 5 crores in INR value or, 10 million in dirhams, if you say, you have created a status for yourself that I've got this. Now, yes, you've got this. Now, let's bring it down. Let's break it down to, brass tacks. And we understand that a restaurant is a business of 5 folds. So you have human resources, which is the most important part. If you don't get the right people to run your restaurants or to run your hotels, your restaurants and hotels are not going to run. Yes, you have set processes, but processes are again followed by people. And it's a people's industry. So if I have a chef who's a great chef, but he's fought with his wife and he's come back to work and, he's not going to give out the best product. So as a manager, I need to see his eyes every morning and say, hey, is he not looking happy? What's wrong with him? And that day, I'm doing a business for 25,000 dirhams. It can go wrong, right? Because of that guy.
Is it really true?
It is true. It is true. It is true. See, you can have a bad day, but you're still working with numbers. But I'm working with food.
Mm-hmm.
If my sauce is a little burnt, the guest is going to complain. That guest is not going to come back. It's a given fact that if a guest goes out happy out of the restaurant, he speaks to 10 people. But if a guest goes out unhappy from the restaurant, he speaks to 30. So you're doing more damage to the business just because my chef had a fight with his wife. So these are real life problems which need to be addressed. The second part is the real understanding of the business. Who are we? If I know that I'm opening a small corner shop, my investment is going to be limited and I'm going to open 20 of them in the next 20 odd months, for example. So then I can work my P&L accordingly. But if I know that I'm opening one big restaurant, next year I'll open another one. A lot of people come with money and say, no, I want to open 10 in the next 2 years. A restaurant needs to settle down. It's not just a building with sofas and tables and good music and good food. It's like a house becoming a home. It takes time. It takes time to settle in the recipes because the recipes need trials. I'll give you a real-time example. An Indian chef by origin, I went to London and people used to swear by my butter chicken, including Mr. Hrithik Roshan.
Okay.
So, and I go to London. I'm not happy with my butter chicken. I'm wondering, I'm using the same ingredients. It's not coming out. What's wrong? So I realized that the tomatoes are much sweeter than India.
Oh,
Indian tomatoes are, sour and sweet.
okay.
But London tomatoes are sweet. And on top of that sweet tomatoes, I'm adding honey. So obviously, I'm going to have a sweet butter chicken. So, and, I didn't realize that part. So every dish can become different as you move boundaries. So I'm saying I'm detailing out and going down to the pins of things that you have to understand your product. You have to understand your people, raw material. So it's the 4 P's that you're working on, right? So the first is people, then is your product. The number 3 thing is you actually don't start talking about your profit. You have to start talking about your place, right? Your place has to look great every single time. You cannot be that your restaurant looks great today and okay tomorrow. You're not spending on, repair and maintenance. No, not here. Why is it needed? The AC is not working. No problem. Close this section. Would you go to a restaurant like that? No. You want to go to a restaurant which is the same, Every single time you go there, includes the food and the experience. So that's your place, right? So the people, product, place. Then comes the profit. And the profit just doesn't flow in. It has to be again taken with understanding of proper P&L statements, food costing, what you're doing, how you're doing. Then only your restaurant will start making money. Otherwise, you may create a great product with great people at a great place, and you're really making, let's say, a million dirhams in sale, but your bottom line is not even 100,000. So what are you doing there? Which means your process is
creating revenues and expenses.
yeah. So your processes are you're draining your money out. You need to make sure that is there.
Okay. Again, a single objective question. What is the only thing and first thing which should come before you start your restaurant business?
Three things, not one.
Okay.
Okay. Firstly, the intent. I always ask whoever I'm working with, why do you want to open this restaurant? So, like you said, that some people have money, some people have a passion, some people have a hobby. So I said, the second question is that who is going to run the restaurant? Because I'm not going to run your restaurant. So then the person starts to think, why am I really opening it? Is it only like a time pass? Is it only like an investment? Or it is something that I want to do it heart and soul? The people who want to do heart and soul are the people who actually make successful restaurants.
Okay.
And those restaurants really make money. And those restaurants make a name because they are fully committed to that.
Okay.
Now, if you are my investor and you are putting in $1 million dirhams, for example, actually normally a good scale Dubai restaurant can be made between 2.5 to 4 million $4 million dirhams. If you are investing that kind of money, if you are not going to be there heart and soul, then you have to trust me.
Yes.
And that trust cannot go dwindling after 6 months. That okay, chef has done his work now, let him provide money to pay. If that happens, you're gone again.
Yeah.
So you have to believe either in your own self that I will stay here, I will make it happen, or you get someone and you believe in it.
True. So the business has to have someone responsibly at a position where he can take decision.
Absolutely.
He can be fully committed.
Yeah. But you are an entrepreneur, I'm an entrepreneur. We both know that we can't take off our eyes from the business even for one day. So whosoever is running the business, if you just left it on somebody, and again, it's going to be happy days for that people. So you still have to.
And in the world where the dynamics of businesses, market, competition is changing every day, every minute, and you leave it on like that, then it is going to go for a slow day, maybe not direct, but it will slowly die. So some people will feel like, okay, the profits are going a little bit down, it will be managed, but over the period of time, it will have a death for sure.
Also, one more thing as you said about profits, it's like growing a baby. You have to nurture the baby in the womb for 9 months. So which means that, a restaurant will take 4.5, 5 months to develop, to become. And then you can't have a 2-year-old baby saying, go run a marathon. You have to give time. So it takes about 6 to 8 months to make that restaurant profitable. But also, on the other hand, I also say, if you are putting your own money post 6-7 months, then there is time to go back and check everything because that's something going wrong. After 6 to 7 months, you should come to a break-even point where not break-even in terms of your investment, but break-even in terms of you're not putting your own money again and again and again. So the business is making, let's say, 300,000, and your expenses are 300,000. Even if it's a no profit, no loss at that point of time, in 6 months,
But the business is able to run and sell
themselves, you are on the right path. The next month, you'll make 10,000. The next month, you make 50. The next month, you make 100. That's how you proceed. But if you're just wanting to make 100,000 from day one in your own bank, whatever.
So the entrepreneurship basically is not getting millionaire from day one.
It won't.
Nice to know on that. Now, as we have discussed clearly about your story of chef, then converting into business. Now, a very important aspect where we are sitting, the city of luxury, the place where we all have worked now is Dubai. Why did you expand it to Dubai? What made you come to UAE and put so much aggressively, as you mentioned that you're already starting with 5 restaurants in a matter of time. So Zion Hospitality is in India, Zion Consultancy is in UAE. What made you come to UAE?
But I think, the very fact is that the proximity from India and UAE is a very important factor because home is something everybody loves, right? So for me, home still is Mumbai. And 2.5 hours, 3 hours, I'm in Dubai. And if I have to travel out, I live in Mumbai, which is a busy city. So if I have to travel from Kandivali to Colaba, it takes 3 hours. If I have to travel from Kandivali to Raipur, it takes 3 hours. If I have to travel to Rajkot, it takes 3 hours. But if I have to Dubai, it takes 3 hours. So for me, it's a no-brainer, right? That's number one thing. Number two, which should be the number one, is that what I find is that Dubai is not gray. It's white or black. That's either can do or you cannot do. There's nothing that, okay, we try, there's nothing like that. So people know their business, they know what they need to do, and they do it. It's not like they will do it tomorrow, they will do it the day after. So I find that the ease of doing business in Dubai is amazing. And I think the Dubai government and the Indian government are working very closely to make that ties happen because of the proximity, because of who we are, how we live. You see a lot more of India here than you actually see back there. So there's a lot that is happening there also, and the restaurant industry by far is expanding in the UAE. So I think this is the time we.
There's one more thing as an investment perspective I would talk about. India is a very big market. You could have the luxury to go in different cities of India, but still you chose to Dubai. Is it because of the diversification country-wise, or is there any other reason?
No, I think for me, it's diversification of business because now I already run this private limited company in India called DhanGuard Private Limited. And now Zion Associates LLC is going to have the base in Dubai. But Dubai also helps me to go global. I have a bank account which has an AED and an USD account. In India, I don't have. And India, I have to have another NRI and an E account, which means that I have to stay out for some time. So Dubai actually helps me to be flexible. I don't have to open a mainland company. I've opened a free zone company, which means that I can still run my company there, still run this company. The accounting software systems are very straightforward, simple. So it just helps me to, not take any more stress in terms of what's going to happen. The legalities are right there. And sometimes I'm not saying wrong about my country, but, not everybody knows the law fully, right? So here, if you're,
but I would rather, what I feel like is in the same industry or my industry or any other industry for that sake, that going from India, one city to another, there is no issues. We get profitability. Everything is all same. It is good. But if I go to Dubai or UAE, we get that internationally. It is not something which is wrong about it. It is more pragmatic that when we come to UAE, at least that global international word comes. So that helps. And again, we know that UAE is the luxurious place. People come out here. The brand level will get help in India as well.
But I also look at it in a very business perspective that, I'm getting 22 rupees against 1 rupee. So that's number one. The number two thing is that if I'm paying 30% tax in my country, I'm paying 9% tax here. So it's not that I want to, take away tax from there, but if I'm working here, I'm paying the tax here. If I'm working there, I'm paying the tax there. And if I'm getting the flexibility of doing both, then why not?
Of course, we get a lot of benefits from India, big market, so we are paying there. Then we come to UAE, as per what we are getting here, we are paying taxes on that. So I would say the major important point would be that you will be called as an international brand because you have offices around the globe, which makes customers feel better.
That's right.
And not just in India. So India is having its own dignity, but as a customer standpoint, if I have different offices around the globe, that gives brand a different level of value.
Very true.
So I think I'm on the right.
You are. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay. So now in terms of Xeon consultancy in UAE, what are your plans and your journey also when you started taking license? How was it? Did you find some issues? Because there'll be a lot of chefs, a lot of people who wanted to come to UAE. Do you think which things which you can share which can help them?
Sure. So, we started our first business piece in UAE in 2018. That was a restaurant in Abu Dhabi, which is still running. So there are two now in Abu Dhabi, but till that time I had not opened a company. The thought of opening a company in Dubai actually started when the business started to come in. And I said that, okay, now this is making sense because you now have not just 1 or 2 outlets, but now we're looking at 5 to 6 outlets in 1 year. And the partners that we're working with are very aggressive to kind of, make it at least 10 outlets in the next 3 years. So I think that's a very good prospect to the business that I had. So that is what led me to open a company. Now, when I was thinking and finding out, I got to know you guys and DhanGuard and, really made me do everything right from my office desk in Mumbai. I do not have to do anything. I don't have to come 5 times here, and, sign these papers and do that and do this. So you guys just made it so easy, to open a company. So I think for all the people who are wanting to open companies, there are multiple ways which you guys can guide, whether you should open a free zone or a mainland company. The ease of opening a company itself is very good. There are banks that help you. There are bank accounts that can be opened very quickly. So I think in a matter of 2.5 months, we were all set. That was
Yes.
the delay was from my side because I was into board scheme and so that was the thing. But I think you guys made it happen in just about a week or 10 days. So I think it's very easy that you guys have made the system. And I think for anybody who's wanting to, look at opening a company in Dubai, these are the people you should look up. DhanGuard, and you will find them. They're right in the center of Dubai, and very easygoing people. Happy to help always. So thank you.
Pleasure. It was a pleasure, sir. And going forward, also we see that opening a company is just a step,
Yeah.
first step. More importantly, is running the business. And for running the business, there are multiple things in the new country, be it accounting, be it taxation, be it how you can expand it. You're more aware in terms of the partners, but how you can grow the brand anyway. So we help in multiple, and we'll be working together in that aspect. Now, one thing which I don't know you have worked on it or no, but I really want to know it because this is what I always discuss with all the new expansions, not the new businesses, but the expansions. Do you see UAE as your first step and then going GCC, be it Qatar, be it Oman, be it Saudi Arabia? Because people, when they come to UAE, they feel like UAE is the only thing. But what I feel like, GCC will be the new Europe of the world. It will be more connected, more reachable, and it will have more opportunities than anywhere in the world.
I believe the same, and when it comes to, expanding business, again, proximity, ease of doing business, and the luxury. All three things I think GCC is offering in a very wide scale. So when you're opening a business either in Saudi Arabia or you're opening a business in Oman or even in Qatar or Kuwait, these are all very closely connected. It's almost like cities in India, right? I mean, we travel in a large country, so traveling across GCC is not a very big thing, and it's very easy to do business. So I think the future definitely lies with somebody coming, making this as their hub, and then moving out with spokes in GCC.
Okay. So with this, I will end and I will ask my second last question, because the last question which I have for you will be the most difficult question, and you must have not heard about it. That is for sure. So my second last question would be that what exactly you would like to tell the people who are coming from India or are in UAE, how you can help them in their restaurant journey or in their passion or in their investment journey, because these are
Sure.
different adjectives related to that.
Yeah, so I think if there are people who are in UAE that would like to open restaurant businesses, I will share my details with you. My website is there, www.chefajaychopra.com. You can reach out to my Dubai number or my India number, and we'll be happy to help.
You can reach out to the DhanGuard Business Center.
Yeah,
You can ask about Ajay sir.
Yeah.
We are get to help.
So you have all my details. Now, the fact is that whether you're in India or you're in UAE, like we all discussed just now in this podcast, it's very important to answer those first two questions. Why you want to open the
Intent.
What's the intent, right? Once you have the intent clear in your head and I want to make a mark in the restaurant industry, it will happen. And we are here to help you with all the nitty-gritty. So what we say is that except the interior designer and the architect, we bring everything for you, which means that how the restaurant should look, we will.
In terms of interior, you don't execute, but you give the idea.
Yes.
If you're doing this type of cuisine, you should have this type.
Yes.
You don't execute.
So conceptualization
Yes.
to actually making the restaurant come about, and execution and in training and getting the first plate out. We do everything. We also do menu consulting only. We also do only operational consulting, which means that if you already have a restaurant and you want to revamp it and revive it and say that so let's just do it, we do that as well. So there are multiple ways that we can work together with your partners.
If you want to start, basically, Ajay sir is here to help in all the things. Now coming to the last question,
The most
but
difficult one.
the most difficult one, and it is personal to me, to everyone out there. So the question is, on behalf of many like me, all the husbands who don't cook, what is the way out that if I order from outside, how should I make it look like that I cooked it for my family?
Okay, so the first 3, 4 times you can order from outside, but I'll actually make it simple for you. I'm not looking at him, I'm looking at you now. Okay, so I'm a man, and we ask this question to hundreds of men that when you go to a restaurant or a hotel, how many female chefs you find versus male chefs? They say 95, which means 95% male, which means males cook. The other thing is, which book says males should not cook? No book says that. The number 3 thing is that if you don't know cooking, I have a YouTube channel called Chef Ajay Chopra. You can just go on YouTube, start following the recipes. They're simple and easy. Start with 5 recipes, one recipe. Make it 5 times, and your wife or your husband or your partner or anybody that is in the home will start loving it. If you don't like that also, I've also published a book called The Big Daddy Chef Cookbook because I believe in daddy's cooking. I believe that daddy's cooking brings the families together, and it just brings that whole energy in the family completely new. So next time I'm coming to Dubai, I'll get 100 copies. I'll place it at DhanGuard office. If you want to cook and you're a daddy or you're not a daddy, but you want to cook, get a hold of one of my books. And
I'm sure we'll have a rush of lot of people to collect this book. And the first one is me. Thank you so
the
much.
question was not difficult as much.
But I really wanted the answer.
Okay.
So with this, we end our podcast today. It was really having pleasure to have Mr. Ajay, who's celebrity chef, with us. Look forward for more on this. We'll keep meeting. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much.